Hello. My name is Stacy. I'm with My Path Yoga. I'm going to show you a really unplanned, unstructured video today that encompasses what my practice can look like on any given day. So some days I'll actually go to studio, go to class, take a full class led by someone else. Some days I'll roll out of bed and just do whatever sort of morning stretch I need to do, and then maybe a couple postures later in the day. Some days I do full practice at home, and I meditate, and I journal, and I do pranayama. Don't normally have the time for that, but when I do, that's great too. Today I just have like 10 minutes to move around, so I'm just gonna go where my body calls me to go. I've already warmed up just a little bit, so I'm not completely stiff, but I am still gonna warm up, and then I'm gonna move around a little bit and just give you an idea of what a home practice could look like. I have a lot of students often over the years that come to me and say, I can't practice at home, I don't know what to do, and I think in their minds, everybody's at home doing these like full like satsang to themselves, these full vinyasa flows, and then the 7-minute shavasana, and I don't know, reciting all the yamas and the niyamas and floating away. And here to tell you that's not what I do. So I'm gonna warm up today in a tabletop position. I'm just gonna do some cow pats. And I'm not gonna cue much in this video. Just gonna kind of show you what I would do. Sit back on my feet. Take a few breaths here. Open up the front of my ankles. Put a little safe stress on my knees. And I'm gonna open my shoulders. My problem areas in my body normally are my right shoulder, my right hip. I've just always had limited mid-back mobility, so I tend to try and make sure I move my spine in all directions, which we should always do in our vinyasa practice. But then I also try to get some back bends in, especially in the morning since they're so energizing. So I'm just rolling my shoulders. I'm gonna inhale my arms overhead, cactus back bend, just to prepare myself. Inhale, and I can feel that my right shoulder is fairly tight this morning. So my back bends are gonna be less of a wheel and more of a baby cobra, or maybe even a yin style sphinx. Could be a broken wing, I don't know, we'll see. Okay, sunbird, right hand forward, left foot back. Love this posture. It's really great to do before any type of a weightlifting for a low body. I'm gonna do the other side, and I'm breathing. And then I'm gonna do my cat cows, but I'm gonna get into them a little bit more. Like a sort of my own version of a spinal wave. Just what feels right in my body. And so that's the cool thing about being at home too, is that I can feel where I'm gonna do hip circles now, because I feel like I need those. I feel like I'm a little bit tight in some places this morning, so. I like to spend a lot of time also on my wrists. So while I'm in this tabletop position, I'm going to change the positioning of my wrists while I do these hip circles. I've got my wrists facing each other now. Then I'm gonna have my fingers face each other. And that can feel intense in some bodies, so take your time if you play around with, yeah, okay. I'm gonna go into my down dog. Kind of feel that guy out a little bit. Spend some time here. And I'm feeling really tired this morning. I'm really sore from weightlifting and teaching classes and taking classes and hiking and running and all the things. So I'm gonna keep this fairly recovery-ish for me this morning. I'm gonna come into my low lunge, spend a little time here, breathe and move, getting that back bend in, because I know that's what I need for my body. We all need that, but just for me, I get to tailor this into my problem areas. One thing I always always say in class as well is class is the place that you learn and home is the place that you practice. So I find that to be really true for my body, my practice. You know, when I'm in class, it's much more structured, so I tend to push myself a little more strength-wise, intensity-wise, and for an hour at home, I don't do an hour practice a lot. I just don't have the time for it. So and then when I go to class too, other than the time commitment, you know, I'll hear a word or I'll feel something different in my body because the teacher explained it a different way, and then there's that gorgeous sense of community as well that you can't get when you're home. And we're all learning something from that co-regulation, from that container that we create together, whether we know it or not. So that's super important. I'm gonna get on my belly and do some rolling cobras. And I know I gotta go soon. I have to pack up here and go get my kids to running club and then get them in line for school. So I'm not being very present in my practice right now. So that's another thing that sometimes you can get when you're in class and can be a little harder on the mat. I'm gonna do a straight arm open wing for a couple breaths here. The other side, and this is truly like my preparation for the day, my practice for the day. I might be able to get on the mat later on tonight and do some restorative and yin style poses. I try to do those before bed as often as I can, but I want to do something so that when my busy day gets started, I don't feel like, oh gosh, I don't feel the pressure to try and find a class that fits my schedule. I've already moved my body in the way that I really do need this morning. And I kind of feel like, okay, I want a little bit of strength here, so I'm gonna do a couple movements here, like sunflowers, especially early in the morning, you really get to move through your whole body. And what I'm trying to do here is get into my body as much as I can before my time is up. Because we're busy. We're busy. We've got partners and pets and kids and jobs and volunteer positions and lives and shit to do. We can't just dedicate our lives to yoga every day as much as, well, not the asana anyway, as much as we would like to. Oh, I'm just gonna do a little mini chest expansion here. Personally, in my practice, I'm working on less about bringing my hands away from my seat and more about strengthening my wrists, the heels of my hands toward each other in my chest expansion. I just have a weak grip strength, I always have. Something that I've worked on for, I don't know, probably 30 years now, and I just don't have a strong grip strength, so I'm working on that still, and I always will. I'm gonna get into a cobbler position here, and I like to do this every morning to get into my hips, and I like to squeeze from the bottom of my bottom so I can get into the pelvic floor a little bit, and we all can do that. Squeeze and breathe, breathe and squeeze. I'm not doing anything too fancy here, and I'm not following a sequence. There's no algorithm. This is just kind of like what I need to start my day and what I need to keep my body functioning, feeling good. Couple more vinyasa flows and a little bit more of a back bend and then something extra for my hips. And I have no idea arching warrior so I can continue to work on that chest expansion. Ooh, and a little balance. And then I'm lacking some strength in this little thing I'm doing, so I'm gonna do a hold. And I'm gonna switch sides. Same bit. I do like to try and keep it equal on each side just because that's what's best for the body. And I'm breathing. This is really all about a practice with eyes closed. I'm just feeling what I need. And as a teacher, often when I do this, I'm like, oh, I didn't think about, this, that. I had a teacher that would say, yeah, I'm like, and here's my hold. I'm like at the counter and I'm making eggs and I put my foot up and I'm like, oh, that's a tree pose variation I can do, and it's so true. Home practice gives you that option if there's any teachers out there. I'm gonna step up to the top, inhale my arms overhead, exhale against the heart center, take a couple moments to regroup, regather here. And then no fancy transition, I think I'm gonna get on my back. Oh, I'm gonna do a little figure four. Feel my right hip today, for sure. I am up to my low body. It's a glute focused low body day. Up my weight for my deadlifts, and I can feel it. I can feel it. Okay, and I'm starting to run out of time. I gotta get going to get my kids. So it's a shorter figure four that I'm gonna turn into my twist as well. And this is medicine for me. So when I get my mind right at the top of the day, at the start of the day, and I move my body, I feel less anxious about moving for the rest of the day. I'm producing maybe some things in my body that I don't produce very well on my own. So I'm making myself feel good. I'm slowing down before everything speeds up. And it just changes the pace of my whole day. I don't feel rushed. I've got that authority over knowing that I really pace the day, even though there are a lot of time constraints and schedules that get thrust upon me. I get to pick the pace and the rhythm of how I show up to those things. So this is a video on what a home practice can look like, and it's also a video about the importance of, even if you can just sit on your front porch or the driveway in your apartment complex, whatever it is, and it's just taking a few breaths, or if you're going to stand right when you get out of bed and do some marches and move side to side and whatever, or it's just getting up and taking a few deep breaths. Doing something in the morning is a game changer. I'd love to get into my hips a little bit more, but I just don't have the time. I definitely need to stretch out my chest more. But again, I'm just doing the best I can. And this feels fun, so I'm gonna do it a little longer. I've been practicing for close to 25 years now, and I've been a teacher for, I guess, 8, something like that. And that's what a practice can look like for me. Sometimes the practice looks like laying down on the bolster, got my journal next to me, I've got a blanket on, and I'm crying. Not really, but kind of. Sometimes it's like I get on the mat and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna bang out a power practice, and I do that for 35, 40 minutes. Sometimes it's just inversions. Like I will just get on my mat and I'll do a child's pose and I'll do a headstand, and I'll do an embryo pose and I'll do a headstand. And then I'll go back to child's pose and I'll work on my forearm stand because That is very hit or miss on whether or not I can do that. And then I'll work on handstand, and then I'll stand up and I'll do my standing forward fold, because that is an inversion. And I like my home practice without music because I can hear my body and I can hear my thoughts. But sometimes I do it with really loud music. And sometimes I do it with kids screaming at me, and sometimes I do it with the laundry beeping at me and my phone ringing because of work, or the school wants to talk to me, or I do it with my dog panting in my face because she feels like it's time for another walk. But I just do it, and I just do what feels right for me, and I don't put pressure on it. So move your body while you're at home. Go to the studio, go to the gym, wherever you practice, if you have the availability and the means to do that. If you don't, just practice at home. It's not about fancy clothes, fancy mat. It's not about having a membership to a studio. It's about coming to a place where you can find that neutrality, the contentness in your mind and your body. It's about taking a breath. It's about being present. And the other stuff is just a distraction. So thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you have a great, peaceful day. You deserve it.